This video, I'm going to talk about a shortcut to creating some common formulas that you often end up creating in a spreadsheet. Excel knows how to do some common mathematical calculations, and it has a place to access those common calculations in an area called functions. And the functions are located up here, and the most common function that people tend to use is the AutoSum function, which automatically adds up a column or row of numbers. It's probably one of the more useful functions available. There are other functions, other common calculations Excel knows how to do. It knows how to calculate averages, how to count how many of something there is, what the largest number, the maximum, the smallest number, the minimum, and there's a whole library full of functions that you can explore if you're interested in learning more. But the sum function is probably the most common, and that's the one that makes the most sense for the paint cost spreadsheet. So if you look at our paint cost spreadsheet, we calculate a sum, an addition of all of the amounts of money it costs for the different supplies. So in each of these columns, we're adding up a column of numbers. And we've done it by clicking on the individual cells to add each one individually. So B3, B4, B5, and B6. And that's fine. But if you had a really large column of numbers, say 50 numbers or 100 numbers, you're not going to want to click on each of those 100 numbers in order to create your formula. That would take forever. So instead, you can use the AutoSum function. Now I'm going to select our totals, and I'm going to delete the ones we have so I can replace them with AutoSum so you can see how it works. So I'm just selecting those, and I'm hitting the delete key to clear them out. So in this cell, I know I want the total of adding up all of these numbers. And so all I have to do is click in the cell where I want the answer to be. And instead of hitting equals and building the formula manually, I'm going to hit the AutoSum button. And it'll automatically put the sum function in there. And functions always, it fills in the equal sign for you, and then the name of the function, in case it's a sum, which means to add. And then in parentheses are the arguments, which means the numbers that you want it to work on. And in this case, it's the form of a range. So it lists the first cell, and then a colon, and then the last cell. So this function is saying to sum up or add all of the numbers that are found in cells B3 all the way down to cell B6. Which is the same thing we did when we added those individually. It's just a shortcut for the notation. When I hit Enter or Tab, it'll do the same thing. It'll calculate that total, and it'll put the answer in the cell. And this is the same function that we want in all of these. We want it to add up the column of numbers above it. So I can use that fill handle to click and drag, and it will copy that sum function over one cell to the right each time, and it will of course change the range based on how far over it went. So in this one it added up B3 to B6, in this one it's adding up C3 to C6, this one it's adding up D3 to D6, and this one is adding up E3 to E6. And it doesn't matter that there's blank cells here, it will just count those as 0. So it adds up whatever's there. And if something changed and a number ended up there, like we needed an extra brush for $10, the sum function, just like any other formula, will automatically change the total. So it will take into account any new information that's put into a cell that it's looking at. And that is the basics of using the AutoSum function in Microsoft Excel.